Welcome back. Today I'm going to watch the official music video of Band-Maid's Secret My Lips. If you're new here, this isn't really a reaction channel. I have been reviewing and reacting to Band-Maid songs, but I do other stuff on this channel too, and this is just for fun. And what I've been doing is going through Band-Maid's catalog in chronological order from the very beginning, made in Japan, working my way through song by song, video by video. And I've made it to the album Just Bring It, and I'm on the very last song, ready to go on. I think the next single was Daydreaming, and then we have the album World Domination coming up soon. I think you can see it sitting right over here waiting for me. I did copy some of the lyrics onto a text file here so I can read them rather than trying to, use a magnifying glass to read the translation out of this jacket here. But it is nice that they provided the translation. In the first verse of Secret My Lips, and up through at least the first chorus, it sounds like the writer is frustrated with life. Like the line, "My body and soul loathes this world." Or maybe they're frustrated with a specific person, because there's a line that says, "Don't you think about me," and "cover up your own leaking weaknesses." But in the second verse, it starts to sound like things are maybe getting better, because the writer says to the other person, "I'm urging you to stay here more, and I don't want this to end." And by the third verse, it sounds like they're moving on and trying to encourage themselves or encourage the listener. No one's deciding things for you. Push your chest out and be proud of yourself. Struggle more. Entrust your dreams to no one. Almost like a list of advice that they're giving to either themselves or to somebody else to go on and succeed in life. At least that's what I got from it. I have pulled up the official music video here on Band-Maid's official channel, and as you can see from the little thumbs up down there, I have seen this before. I'm not pretending that any of these songs are new to me, but I usually just listen to them on my phone or my tablet where the speakers aren't that good, and today I'm going to go through this wearing decent headphones and hopefully enjoy the last song on this album. Alright, I have my headphones on, let's click play and see what this song has in store for us. I think that was where we're about to go into the pre-chorus, but I do like how the song came in hard and heavy. There's a recognizable riff there, and then there's a little bit of a change up as we go into the first verse, where of course Psyche's voice is featured, but in the background it sounds like Misa is playing lead bass, and Akane may be playing lead drums, if that's even a thing. The two of them together were really working well, and I think that whole section would have been fun to listen to even if it was just Akane and Misa. Let's back up a few seconds, and I think we're going into, like I said, the pre-chorus. Here we go. Okay, I think that's the chorus, but I noticed in that pre-chorus section, or maybe just the second half of the first verse, whatever you want to call it, that right after I mentioned Akane playing lead drums, it felt like in that part she was just, I think she was using the hi-hat, it looked like, and maybe just the snare, and just playing a pretty, what sounded like to me, a layperson, a pretty simple, just keeping the beat, while Misa continued to play lead bass. She was really high up on the neck, and there was just some beautiful sounds coming out of the bass guitar. And then Akane kind of woke up again as we went into the chorus, so I'm going to back up and catch that. Okay, throughout that entire chorus, it seemed like Konami was doing more work than a lot of us do all day. And during I think there was only two really close, quick glimpses of Konami's guitar where she's just working. And even when it wasn't showing her, I could hear very slightly, it's almost hidden in the mix. But the lead guitar is doing a lot of work there. I also like that the vocal melody seems really catchy and memorable. I mean, to some extent, that's one of the goals of every rock and pop song is to have a catchy, memorable vocal melody, and some songs do better at that than others. But I think this one did a really good job. Like, that's the kind of vocal melody that when you hear it, you'll be like, wait, that's Secret My Lips by Band-Maid. All right, let's back up a few seconds and catch the end of the chorus. It sounded like there was a little bit of a transition there. Okay, we got another transition here. It sounds maybe slightly different than the first one. In this second verse, Misa was definitely going again, and it felt different than the first verse, even though I'm sure some of the notes had to have been the same, but it felt like an entirely different string of notes, or certainly in a different order. And when they showed her face, it was so calm and relaxed, and she's looking over at the other band members like, yeah, I did that. And if they hadn't been busy doing their own things, I could just imagine them going, yes, you did, because it was impressive. And then as they went into that pre-chorus section, the double bass pedals kicked in. Like, you couldn't help but notice that. It took that song to another level of intensity that I really enjoyed. And then there was a nice, unexpected pause right before they went into the chorus. I don't think they had the same pause before the first chorus, but here there was just a little bit of an extended period of catching your breath before they went into that chorus. Again, let's back up a few seconds, and we're going into this transition, which may be a third verse, but probably, I'm guessing, a guitar solo. I actually want to go back and hear that part again, but I loved the part where Psyche and Miku seemed to be echoing each other on I think they were saying further. One says further, and then the other one echoes it, and then Psyche comes back in. But that whole breakdown was magnificent, and I think the bass guitar was the primary instrument through that, so all of that kind of makes me think that Misa is the hero throughout this song, and it makes me curious. You know how sometimes there's a video of just Psyche and Konami sitting on the stage with the acoustic, like the puzzle that we saw? What if they did this song with just Misa and Psyche, just the bass guitar and the vocals? Because the bass guitar seems to be doing a ton of work here. I don't know if that's ever something that any band ever does, but I would be curious. The guitar solo, as most of Konami's are, was kind of short and very frenetic at the beginning, but I saw her just glancing up, confidently smiling, and she was having fun with it, which I think, for me, that's a really important ingredient in rock songs. It helps to know that the band is enjoying themselves. So yeah, let's back up here.
No
There were about 52 things that I wanted to say during that section, and I've forgotten most of them. One was I guess, kind of a sing-along section at the end, although unlike many of the sing-along things that Band-Maid includes, it wasn't in English and it wasn't just nonsense sounds like whoa-oh. It sounded like they were actually singing words, I assume mostly in Japanese, so I couldn't sing along with it, but I could hum or vocalize. But another thing that I wanted to mention was that I noticed again Konami doing so much work behind the vocals there. It was a little low in the mix, but you caught glimpses of it on the video a few times. And it was just a lot. It might have even been more complicated than the little guitar solo that she did. And I was wrong about the slow section. The bass wasn't the primary instrument there. There was I guess, a guitar with the effect taken off. But then when the bass came in, it was very noticeable. So noticeable that I forgot about the guitar when I was talking before. But the way that the song ended just leaves you with a nice, peaceful feeling. That's a really good way to end an album. And if I'm not mistaken, there were, 13 songs on this album, starting off with some bangers. Don't You Tell Me, then it got better with Puzzle, and for me, it got even better than that with Moratorium. And then there were a few songs that weren't quite up to par for me, but I know a lot of you like YOLO. But then when we got to right in the middle of the album, Take Me Higher, that was possibly the high point of the album for me, if it wasn't Moratorium. And then some just really decent songs right after that. And then to end with this, that's just impressive, and I can definitely see there's no argument here for anybody who says this is Band-Maid's best album. I'm not drawing that conclusion just yet, but I can see why somebody would. And I went back and forth a lot in my head about whether or not to do the secret MAIKO Lips version right after this, because I know that it's kind of a redone version of this song. And the reason I went back and forth is because I didn't know, for me, whether it was more important to pair them together or to continue doing my chronological thing. And if I'm going to do it chronologically, then I have to wait a little bit for that because the Band-MAIKO didn't come out this year. This is 2017 that we're in right here. Oh, 2017. That reminded me. That was the year that later in the year, Psyche had her vocal surgery. Another thing I wanted to say was this song was recorded, months before that when she already knew she was having throat and, vocal cord problems, the polyps, whatever it was. And still, this song showcased her vocal range so much. And her voice sounded really good in this song. But back to the secret MAIKO Lips, because so many of the Band-MAIKO songs are paired with or could be paired with their original by Band-Maid, I think it makes sense to do them with them. And this, if I'm not mistaken, is the first of Band-Maid's songs that had a Band-MAIKO song based on it. So I'm going to go ahead and do Secret MAIKO Lips right now. When I searched for, in the search box, Secret MAIKO Lips, when I got to MAI, the autocomplete suggested Secret Mailbox. And I didn't click on that because I don't want to know what that's about. But anyway, Secret MAIKO Lips by Band-MAIKO. I believe this was the first Band-MAIKO song, which came out in 2018. I want to say April of 2018, so more than a year after this album, Just Bring It, came out. It wants me to suggest a caption edit. No, I just clicked on that at the beginning thinking they might have the closed captions here, but when I did, I think it said Korean, auto-generated. I don't know why it would want to give me Korean subtitles because that's neither here nor there. I just noticed right here, and of course at the beginning, Misa got a vocal part. Is this Misa's first credited vocal? Not that they credit individual vocals per song, but what an amazing addition to this song. And I love how she did both of them with a completely straight face. I don't know how many takes that took. She seems like the kind of person that would have broken out laughing trying to film that part. But really all of them, straight faces here. I know that they're a fun-loving group of people and they had to have worked at just shutting that down to keep these non-smiling faces here. Again, I noticed Konami is doing tons of work on the guitar, and this one it showed her kind of dancing around. When it showed all 5 of them, she was kind of hidden, I think, behind Psyche there, just looked like maybe spinning. The bass wasn't quite as prominent, at least in this audio mix, but I could see that she was doing many of the same things, Misa was. As for the drums, it looks like Akane is playing the same drum kit that she played in the other song, but in the audio version, there's definitely some other percussive instruments that aren't in her drum set. She's added this later. They've layered it over the mix. I assume traditional Japanese percussion instruments sounds like, and of course the other stringed instruments added into that to give it less of a rock and roll flavor, more of a traditional Japanese flavor, I guess. It's really nice. Part of me wishes that I had been there when the 2017, or in this case 2018, Band-Maid fans first were introduced to this. After having from the beginning seen them just in maid outfits, various iterations of the maid outfits, and then suddenly, clearly it's still the same people, but they dressed up differently. They've put on different makeup. They've adopted a slightly different style, but they used a song that the fans would have been familiar with and added the changes musically, and I think there were lyrical changes as well, correct? And with one exception, I think they put more trouble into this video than they did to any of the ones previous to this. The one exception being Don't You Tell Me. That video looked like they went through some trouble to rent a space and get actors in, have a banquet or a feast, whatever, set up there, and the dancing and the masks and all that. But most of their music videos are just them playing the instruments, either in a room or in a warehouse or a studio or on stage. But this one clearly went through tons of trouble for this. I've talked way too long. Let's back up just a few seconds and keep going. Going into the guitar solo, I assume. It almost felt like there were more words in this version than in Secret My Lips, and that can't possibly be the case if they're using the same basic composition. I guess they could have put more syllables in more quickly, or maybe it's just my impression because there's so much going on, but it seems like there's more words here. I'm going to back up and catch this transition, and then I assume this is where the guitar solo goes, but I don't remember specifically in this version what happened. Every time I back up 5 seconds, I get Psyche up there. Oh, I did like the part where all 5 of them were holding the bowls, and then suddenly they look at you, and it's like, oh, yep, I'm looking at you too, and kind of I don't know, felt like an awkward moment to me. But anyway, here we go. What a fantastic set of songs. Wow. Now, in this version, when they went to the breakdown and it was just Psyche, and then there was that little bit of a guitar before Misa came in. But then when Misa was there alone in the exterior shot, that reminded me of what I was saying earlier, which I think that would be really interesting. I don't know. I might be the only person that wants to see that, but it would be nice to have just Psyche and Misa doing this song with just the bass guitar and the vocals. And they changed the words for the sing-along part too, I'm pretty sure. I really enjoyed all the visuals in this, and yes, if I'm going to watch a music video, which I don't often, I'm sure I've mentioned this before, I usually almost always just listen to the audio of songs because I'm doing something else and I can't focus on the visuals. But when I am going to watch a music video, I like it to be interesting, and usually more interesting than just the band standing around playing music. And if it is going to be a band just standing around playing music, it helps that, it's easy on the eyes, which is the case for this band. No surprise there. But I really appreciate the trouble that they went through to set up the scenes and the outfits and the staging and everything for this, and the exterior shots especially, those were just really gorgeous from a cinematic or photography perspective. The way that the lights and the exposure was set up and the color balance. It's a really well put together music video and a really well put together song. I really appreciate those of you that have, been watching these videos and leaving the comments, especially, those of you that make it to the end of the video. I look forward to the single, which is coming up next. I don't have a physical copy of that one, so it's going to have to be I think there's 3 songs on that single, Daydreaming, Choose Me, and Play. And 2 of those have official music videos, and one has the official live video, and was one of the very first Band-Maid videos that I ever saw. So for now, I'm withholding judgment on whether this is their best album, but it's certainly the best one to date. Up to 2017, it's a marked improvement over their previous work, not only because I'm biased and I know that they got to write most of the music and lyrics for this album, not all of it, but most of it. Not just that, but just to me, this album is a higher quality of composition than the previous stuff. Even if I hadn't known that a lot of the writing duties had been turned over to them, this would be my favorite album so far. There's good stuff before this, and I still enjoy a lot of those older songs, but this album, taken as a whole, it's a really impressive body of work. Thank you for being here, and I'll see you next time.